Welcome back, everybody. It's a brand new episode of 5 Minute Majors. I'm your host, Derek Harper. There hasn't been too much news over the past week. There's been a couple signings in the ECHL over the past month or so let's dive right into that. And we'll really dive into the connections between major junior venues and the ECHL and kind of the development there. So, kind of with that, the Portland Winterhawks saw Jack O'Brien sign with the Minnesota Wild's Iowa Heartlanders. To put it in comparison, the ECHL is about the level of AA baseball. So two steps down from the NHL. It's right below the American Hockey League. Sometimes these players aren't superstars in the WHL, so they don't really sign an NHL contract or they don't start there. But they're still good enough that they get the attention of minor league teams who are still who they're still professional franchises. So we also saw a WHLer who spent time with the Winnipeg Ice and the Spokane Chiefs. He signed with the Edmonton Oilers affiliate, the Fort Wayne Comets. Chase, and hopefully I get this name right, Bertholet. And so there's two examples there. They had pretty good WHL careers. Chase actually had just a few more points than he had games this year. So that's pretty good. But for you to be a superstar, you got to be producing a lot of points over like single seasons. Like you got to be producing more points than games in a single season, more so than just an average career. So they've landed in the ECHL, which is not a bad league. I've actually been to a game. It's decent hockey, but the argument can be made that it's not as good as the WHL, and maybe that's valid, but it's still a professional league for these guys to go and play in. And so I bring this up because the ECHL was kicked out of Canada at one point, not totally out of the country, but out of Victoria. The WHL's Chilliwack Bruins, they moved to Victoria, kicking out the Victoria Salmon Kings. Unfortunately, they weren't able to find a new home and thus ended up folding. So the Victoria Royals have seen a lot of success there, really great fan base, really great game experience, and it just kind of shows that venues can also pick up major junior teams, and the ECHL, believe it or not, has seemingly been this kind of, how do I say it, like almost intertwined unofficial relationship with the major junior hockey and its leagues, because you also saw over in Brampton, Ontario, the Brampton Beasts played, and so they were in the ECHL for a handful of years, and so with that, when they folded, it left the venue empty. But no fear, because starting this season here, we're getting the Mississauga Steelheads who are relocating down the street. I don't even think it's a full 10 minute drive. Maybe. And they are going to play in Brampton and rebrand as the Brampton Steelheads. So it just goes to show. And I mean, heck, we've seen it with St. John. We've seen the QMJHL up there. And now they've had AHL teams and ECHL, and so it just kind of goes to show that these venues are really intertwined. They'll take whatever level of hockey that they can get, and that kind of goes the same for these players. Is that if they get the opportunity to play at a professional level, even if it's two steps below the top level, that's still a very good opportunity to be noticed, grow their skill sets, grow their game overall, and hope to make it up to the uh, AHL, and then maybe one day up to the top NHL. And so we'll see how those two pan out. We wish Jack O'Brien the best of luck with Iowa, as we do Chase with the Comets. So a more detailed story about all these different transactions of teams and players can be found at highshockey.com. Until next episode,